All right, welcome back everybody to the stock market outlook video brought to you by DFU. That's my daily driver for screening, charting, watchlist management, alerts, the works. And we have a special offer, 2 months for $39. This is the best platform for growth stock, swing, and position traders. So if you haven't checked it out before, go ahead and click the link popping up right now, as well as located down below in the description. Today, as always, we're going to walk through the market indexes, key themes, and then run through a lot of key stocks. There's a great amount of moves this past week that we want to take a look at. We're going to take a look at NVDA, CAVA, PLTR, app, and a lot more. So stay tuned. And if you want my take on any specific stocks, let me know down below in the comment section, and I'll shoot you guys a reply as soon as I see it. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right in. And if you do find this video helpful, please go ahead and leave a like down below. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this one every single week. Starting with the QQQ, we had this large upside reversal and very volatile today because we actually started up here, went all the way, undercut these lows, and then rallied strongly. And this was after CPI, so it's good to have kind of that information behind us and a definitive day in the markets. I called it a pivotal day where we kind of reclaimed this key level, this downside reversal high, as well as the 21 EMA. And we've seen nice fall through on Thursday and Friday, really showing the strength of this day. We're back above all the key moving averages at this point, and we're kind of at a key level. We've got this downward trend line. We've got this key high as well that we're right near at. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some consolidation. I think that would actually set up a lot of great charts. Many stocks have moved pretty hard the past 2 to 4 days. And I'd love to see some sideways action, some inside days right above the moving averages, and then reconfirmation to the upside. That would trigger a lot of great setups. But, all things considered, we're back above a rising 21 EMA that started the new cycle on this day right here. And we just have to see kind of what happens at this point. We're still in this overall basing structure, but things look constructive. And when we get this type of day, as we push back through this high, that's the time to get aggressive and start, pilot positions or full positions in your top tier names that you've been watching and stalking throughout a corrective process. And that's where your homework can really pay off, because you can naturally benefit from kind of the breadth expansion that you see on a move just like this. Looking at the IWM, this one also rallied strongly, large upside reversal on that same day, fall through to the upside, and then even stronger today than the QQQ as we pop above all the moving averages. All of them are rising right now, so looks like rotation back into small caps, a lot more strength here. We'll see if it sticks. We saw a similar expansion here, and that required some congestion, consolidation before ultimately failing. So again, just because we do get a power move up like here, like we did right here, doesn't mean everything's rosy. We could see some consolidation, and then I'd love to see again a handle back into the key moving averages and expansion back up. Looking at a few other key indexes, IWO looks pretty similar. This is more the growth space when it comes to the Russell 2000. I also want to highlight that new highs have expanded again. We're seeing breadth expansion as well. The percentage of stocks above their 40-day simple moving averages is increasing. That's a good sign. And looking at the mega caps, let's go ahead and run through these names. Google still in a downtrend below declining 21 EMA, but testing that level, reclaiming that 200-day moving average. We'll see if we can pop above it here and test this high, test this key moving average as well. But so far, still pretty weak. Microsoft looks stronger. You can see forming in a higher low here. We basically broke out of this point, reclaimed the 50-day moving average, and we basically had a test of that 200-day moving average, and the test was successful, and we rebounded up off of that. Tesla looks constructive for next week. We've got a consolidation under this key level, kind of grinding higher here. I wouldn't mind, a full, 1 day pullback, 2 days of pullback, and then a breakout. That would be preferable. But we've got a lot of key levels lining up as it tries to venture and fill this gap right here. But looking at the weekly and monthly, this is pretty constructive, and we'll see if it can actually start to push out and form, another strong uptrend like we've seen in previous years, but forming those higher lows, respecting that 200-day moving average. This showed a lot of power, a lot of interest, volume coming in. And so far, it's holding up well, better than most of the other mega caps. NVIDIA, of course, is pretty much the leader of the growth space here. We had a range that formed right here. No follow through to the downside after this candle. That was kind of key. Instead, we get a positive expectation breaker where we have a gap up and strong close. We saw another gap up and good close the next day. And then we pushed through the highs of this range here decisively, reclaiming the key moving average. And then we had fall through and then a really tight day here on declining volume looks constructive right at the key moving averages. Again, we're running into some key levels. We've expanded quite far from this range. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some consolidation, and that would be very constructive. And I'd love to see, a few days, even a week right near the moving averages, and then a decisive move back through those highs, that short-term swing high that it would set up if that was the case. But NVIDIA, things are looking decent, and we'll just have to see what happens from this inside day. If it continues higher, that wouldn't be too much of a pause here. I'd love actually a little bit more of a pause. But again, we'll just have to see what actually happens and play the cards that we are dealt. Moving on to Apple, this also looks pretty strong right at the moving averages, forming a potential higher low here. A little bit of a downside reversal today, but pretty much overall a consolidation day after the slight move up here. Again, I wouldn't mind to see a little bit more consolidation than a decisive move higher to try to test these prior highs. Meta as well has been one of the stronger of the mega caps. Let's zoom out a little bit here, forming this bigger base, popping above the moving average, and then pretty much a consolidation day here on Friday to end out the week. Again, a few days tight would be ideal, and then a pop through and hopefully a significant breakout into these new highs. It's pretty much been basing all the way since March of this year. Lastly, we've got Amazon. Again, you've got this gap down, but it's kind of trying to heal itself here. We've got the higher low forming here and very strong at the right-hand side this week in particular, very strong this day, and then following through to the upside again, a little bit of a consolidation day here, a little bit short-term extended, but I wouldn't mind to see, a little bit of a handle feel, a drift down, and just see that form here and then reclaim to the upside, letting those moving averages converge under price, and that would set us up nicely. So likely we'll just kind of have to see what happens, but the short-term expectation after the strength is that an uptrend will be in place, and the stock will respect the moving averages when they do kind of form up under that price structure. So that's pretty much it for the market indexes. Things look pretty constructive. You had that decisive move on the Wednesday, fall through to the upside, but we're getting close to some levels where we wouldn't be surprised to see some type of pause, some type of consolidation. Moving on, I want to touch base with the performance charts. Just today, you can see small caps, the leveraged, outperformed today. IBIT as well popped through the anchor VWAP from these lows, as well as got back above the 21 EMA. So that's definitely an area and theme you should be watching. This is a pretty big base that it's forming here. We're a little bit leaking down here, leaking downwards. So still a lot of ways to go. But in the very short term, we have some reason to be optimistic, to be bullish here. Again, we have a positive expectation breaker where we have a very negative close. What happens the next day? We expect fall through to the downside. Instead, what happens is we get a gap up, strong close, and then it holds upside reversal, holds near that key level, and finally pops through on this past Friday. So definitely an area I'll be watching pretty closely to see if those names like Mara, Coin, MSTR can run and make another move. They've been some of the best traders of the past year and a half or so. It's definitely a name to be watching. IDNA. You can see really nice strength here. Let's move this down here. My drawings toolbar, genomics acting strong. Genomic revolution, similarly showing that same theme. Retail definitely has been strong as well. Amazon's a part of this, I'm sure. Regional banking popping through. So we're seeing kind of widespread strength. Biotech, this is definitely an area that I've been focused on. ITB, home construction. We've been noting that theme for quite some time, but there's a lot of themes kind of participating at this moment and, acting strong to end the week. So we'll just have to see if that trend continues. And let's go ahead and change this to 5 days. Not 5 years, 5 days. And you can see that the gold miners, I definitely want to bring up gold here. This is super strong action, moving off the lows, kind of making that turn. And then we get this gap and go move on Thursday as gold broke out of, a longer term base. And these are acting super strong. Blockchain as well. We've noted that trend with IBIT, TNA, IBIT. Again, we've got the miners down here, GDX acting well. SMH is also among the top performing themes over the past 5 days. So this sort here with the price percent change 5 days, especially on a weekly basis, doing this on the weekends is a great way to stay in tune with rotation. That's a question I get quite a bit. Where are the strongest areas of the market? You just have to just set this simple thing up with the theme ETFs, which you can find under watchlist presets right there. So things are acting pretty good. And let's go ahead and dive into some individual names. First things first, I was actually experimenting with RMV, relative measured volatility, on a monthly chart using a look back period of 5 months. And it's amazing how it spots those bases. And when it gets down to zero, there's going to be some expansion that happens. I was taking a look at, Tesla in the past. App recently, of course, is a super strong mover. NVDA. Pay attention when RMV on a monthly basis gets down to 5. There's going to be either expansion to the upside or expansion to the downside, as we had back here in 2022. But let's go ahead and stop with the experiments and get down to a daily chart. This app was super impressive from this tight area. You can see RMV went to 0. That's something you always want to be paying attention to when we have an expansion up, up the right hand side of the base, and then RMV goes to 0. Always be watching to see a range forming against the moving average. And we had a super strong move, from this high, basically a move of 27% or so in just 3 days. That's the type of move that we want to find as swing and position traders, that either gets us a great cushion or allows us to sell to strength and kind of keep compounding, keep rotating to the next opportunity. But app, definitely a name I want to highlight this week, probably one of the best opportunities. Let's take a look at some names that acted well today. We've got Redfin. Super strong action. Again, we had a compression against the 21 EMA short-term range. We also had a nice range back here. RMV going to 0, expansion up. Then we got a little bit of tightness, expansion up again, leak down to the moving averages, a little bit of tightness, positive expectation breaker, and we're off to the races here. This day isn't really the most ideal time to enter this name, just because we were already a little bit expanded, but super strong move. And if you entered around this area right here, you've got a great cushion to work with. Zillow as well. Let's bring up that chart. Zillow as well moved really strongly today, so that theme is kind of working overall. Getting back to some key names, let's go ahead and actually do price percent change. Or actually, let's just search 5 here and price. Oh, there we go. Let's do price percent change and do 5 days. Let's add that column in. And let's go ahead and sort the DPU leaders by that metric. BNTX, a name I definitely want to highlight as well, more of a swing trade type name. But super strong expansion, highest volume in quite some time. NVAX also moved along with this, so there could be a theme developing there. We notice, of course, from a high level, the biotech group acting strongly. So this is just kind of confirming it from a low level or bottoms up approach, that there are stocks that are acting well. Super strong expansion. We'll see if this forms a tight area that's tradable. But you definitely had a nice potential gap and go move here, tight area. Outside day, this could have been a really nice entry. And of course, the expansion up today. App we discussed, RH, nice gap up. This is still in a stage 1 base, very choppy in here. So hasn't really made a decisive move yet. You can see the extent of the stage 1 base, and there's been previous times where we've had a gap up, strong move, things are looking good. It's looking like it's starting a new stage 2 uptrend and just reverses. So we'll see what actually happens here, but pretty good volume on this gap up. So we'll see what happens. Checking out, you've got a slight beat on earnings and sales, nothing dramatic. And this is more of a slower mover anyway. Twist, so another biotech name, moving off the bottom here. Oscar, nice gap and go move. I noted this in my newsletter here on this day. Acting super strong on the right hand side, so you can watch for an EMA crossback. SG, really nice range that formed here on the 50-day moving average. Outside day here through these highs and expansion up, looks strong. MSTR moving along with Bitcoin, of course. AVGO, nice move off the 200-day moving average. Super strong here. Upside reversal, fall through to the upside. Chewy, a nice move off the 21 EMA. HIMS, nice move off the bottom, inside day, and turnaround. So you're seeing a lot of expansion over the past 4 days from a variety of different sectors as well as stocks. VRT, nice expansion up. PLTR, I definitely want to highlight. Gap and go move, of course, it was included into the S&P 500 last Friday, and we've seen a little bit of a continuation, a little bit weak. I loved actually to see kind of this wedging resolve to the downside, have a retest of that 10 EMA, and then see if it can kind of form a tight range and then really expand and start to trend nicely. This kind of wedgie action is a little bit tough to trade, and if you're not already in it, it's not really actionable at all. NVIDIA, of course, acting well. We already mentioned that. Affirm retaking this key level, which if you zoom out is right here. And you've got a nice push up off the bottom after this upside reversal, retake, and then reconfirmation to the upside. It was really good seeing fall through. That's one sign that really shows that the market, at least right now, is a little bit risk on, is we're seeing follow through from these type of upside reversals. That's key in a very choppy environment. You're not seeing that follow through. You're seeing upside reversals fail. We're seeing positive expectation breakers and negative expectation breakers, one after the other. Here we're seeing sustained follow through, so it's a good sign, at least in the short term. We'll of course see what happens next week. Miners, a lot of them popped higher. This one is more of a silver one, PAAS. I've traded this in the past, looks pretty good. AMD, nice move off the bottom here. NVIDIA to me is still the key leader here. Let's see if there's any others I really want to highlight. Duolingo, I've been watching this one pretty closely and formed a nice range here, pushed higher through this pivot as well as this handle that's been forming as it tries to fill this gap. Really like the fundamentals and of course the story of this name. Let's see here. ONON, definitely worth mentioning here. Beautiful range here, retesting this base pivot. And then what do we get? A nice outside day where you can manage risk against these lows right here, as well as the 21 EMA, and then continued expansion up and a nice tight consolidation day to end out the week. Pod, this name has been acting super strong. Healthcare in general has been a theme that's working, and you've got a nice kind of retest of this pivot, then upside reversal and fall to the upside. This is where you want to enter this name, managing risk at this low or the 10 EMA or even the low of that day. And then you've got a nice cushion as it continues to trend. A nice little bit more illiquid this one, but still, a fast mover and a little bit of a choppy trader as well, as you can see from this base. CART broke out of this recent base here just today. DOX finally got going and stopped closing at 36. Let's go ahead and move this over here. You had a nice pullback to the anchored VWAP from the earnings gap up, and then we got an upside reversal, breakout from this range, then another short-term flag, nice tight action, and then a really nice reconfirmation to the upside. So it looks very strong. Yeah, love seeing a high volume gap up and then some type of range forming versus that anchor VWAP, or potentially actionable on this day as well. But so far is acting really nicely. IoT, this one's been doing well. A little bit of a choppy trader as well, tough to get positioned. Big upside reversal shakeout bar here. So at this point, a little bit short-term extended away from any proper buy areas. I think that's pretty much what I want to cover today. Of course, let's take a look at Kava. This one had nice action, showed RS while a lot of stocks were really falling apart. This one held the 10 EMA as well as the earnings gap low. The earnings gap low, and then we reconfirmed to the upside. It's just been holding that 10 EMA. A little bit of downside reversal action today, so we'll see if there's fall through to the downside, but expect it to hold the 10 EMA until it doesn't. That's the type of power move it's currently in. But overall, that's, I think, a great run through of some names that are key to the market right now. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know any stocks you'd like my take on down below as well. And hopefully you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks for spending time with me. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys in future videos. Take care.